really proud of my team to overcome a deficit at halftime and to really earn a victory in a very difficult place to play against an opponent we hadn't beaten yet in conference play. There was a lot of things that made this game important, and it was an earned victory. There wasn't anything easy about it, and we made enough plays and at critical times, and I think comprehensively enough throughout our team to win the game. I was really pleased that there was no turnovers on our part. We were relatively penalty free for a first game, and I think the game management was clean as well for a first one. Our offensive line clearly played better in the second half. That had a lot to do with I think just our ability to have control of the game at the end. I was impressed with Wayne Taulapapa and his running and his production. And then Joey Blunt, with not only sacks but the interception, he played very strongly in the second half as we made some adjustments in the second half that were necessary as Pitt had us on our heels in the second quarter and were doing some things that were difficult for us to stop. So I'm really proud of my coaches. I'm so happy for my players and just pleased with our performance overall. So yeah, I'll take questions.
Bronco, do you learn more about your team when it has to kind of scrap in the second half than you would if it had been a wire to wire?
Yeah, this is to trail on the road is not an easy thing to overcome, and I saw resolve, but I also saw a little uncertainty as we came into halftime. And to start the second half the way we did, if I remember right, we scored or got a field goal, but we moved the ball effectively, and that was monumental just to reestablish what we're capable of, and that we were executing more cleanly. So, yeah, it just the resolve and the maturity, I think, were maybe the two of the things that I saw today that are lasting with me most.
How about the Matt interception?
Wow, Gam. Yeah, so Matt Gam, we've been here 3 years with that same defense, and I don't think we've ever had an outside backer drop appropriately yet. So finally in year 4, we get it done at the appropriate time with a really diligent guy, and it'll be a monumental thing for teaching now when they do it right. It actually works. So, but that play, that interception and Joey's interception, they make a huge difference. And then just our ability to get to the quarterback the second half. But Matt Gam, yeah, starting in place of Chris Peace. So that's Matt's first start. And there's plenty to learn, but to execute a play like that at a critical moment, and again on the road in his first start, I was really proud of him.
Coach, you'd like to say in the preseason you never really know about your team unless they actually play a game.
Yeah.
Second half, what do you think you learned about your team?
Just more seasoned. The program just looks more seasoned. There weren't the wild ups and the wild downs and the crazy miscues and things you'd say, man, why did he do that? Or, holy cow, did he just do that? There wasn't much of that. And so it just looks like we're maturing and we're a more seasoned program. And that's what I learned. And I still wasn't sure going into the game how we would play. But overall, the relative clean nature of how we played the game, and then coming back from a deficit, and then finishing with running the football in the end zone when we had to run out the clock, it was refreshing, and the best teams can do that. So that was a good sign.
What can you share? What can you share about Jordan Mack?
Early reports are concussion, is what I've learned.
Losing him for a long stretch tonight, that show you something about your depth?
It just is. It's kind of reflecting program maturity. But we have a young player in Nick Jackson. So Rob Snyder obviously stepped up. We had Zane Zandier. So between Rob and then Nick Jackson, the first year, getting some work, it's just it's certainly had an impact, but not to the level that it has in years 1 through 3. And because there were other players that came out here and there also, and that just reflects a program maturing by personnel and I think, to your point, depth.
Coach, you've talked a lot this offseason about the benefits of rotating the defensive line, but what benefits are there to rotating on the offensive line the way you guys did tonight?
Well, it's competition, and so we're still working hard to find the best 5, the most complementary 5, and the right players to do the right thing at the right time. And so And the way that we performed the second half, I was much more pleased with that than the first half, where it seemed just not nearly as consistent and more sporadic. So I think we made some progress that through rotation and identifying, and I can't tell you today, but what the five really looks like and in what positions.
It might have been because of the offensive line, but Bryce looked more tentative in the first half than he did.
Yeah.
He seemed like a different quarterback in the second half.
I think it's just all part of getting to know this team and kind of getting back in the swing of it for him. So I agree. He looked more rhythmic, more confident, more poised. But also we were able to now just dial in and call things that were maybe more suitable for what the game is requiring versus this opponent and what we're capable of doing. You know, and I would love to say we had a perfect idea of what we could do coming into the game, what we thought we could do, and what we actually could pull off. Those were two different things. As we saw the first half, we weren't able to protect as long as we wanted.
We didn't see, you were a little short-handed at wide receiver. You didn't have Deshaun Brissett. You didn't have Boris Kelly. You didn't have Billy Kemp. What are their stats as of now?
So Billy and TK will be back with us next week. There was a violation of team rules, and so they're back in good standing. They worked really hard helping us to prepare for this. They were basically Pitt's receivers, which was great preparation. And Brissett should also be back full speed. His was injury-related, not conduct-related.
You guys debuted that NASCAR package late last season with 4 outside linebackers on the field. You guys implemented it a lot tonight. What do you guys get out of that package? What's the benefit of having that much athleticism on the field?
Well, we were actually limited because of injury. There's one other package that's probably the one you're referring to most, but because of a few injuries, we didn't nearly play that as much as we had hoped to. But speed, their quarterback hurt us with his legs today, scrambling, kept a few drives alive, and that would have helped on occasion if we were able to substitute even a little bit deeper.
What concerned you most about what Pitt was doing at halftime and what were you able to do?
So the speed in which they were going with the formations they were giving us made it really difficult. And so there was, it was very difficult to identify what personnel they were in, and then the formations were unique, and we were just a count off of making the adjustments by alignment we needed to before the ball was snapped. So we had the adjustments that we think would have worked well, but we couldn't get them adjusted fast enough, and so we were just behind for that, especially that long drive, not the flare pass that went, but the sustained drive. We were just a count off in trying to communicate and get aligned fast enough, and so we basically eliminated any adjustment that we had to make based on a unique formation and just aligned and played the second half, which helped us.
Bronco, you mentioned at the outset that this is an important win for a lot of reasons, but at the same time, a year or two ago, you guys win this game, everybody would have been going nuts. It just seems, I don't know if subdued is the right word, but is that kind of just a reflection of where this program is now?
Well, they expect to win, they believe they can win, and we have 12 more. So, yeah, we came to win the game. And so we feel great about that. And now it's like, okay, who's next? And there's a Friday night game, so we're already a day less in our preparation, and they know that, so here we go. I'm going to work hard to enjoy it longer, at least on the plane ride home. But it's, yeah, 36 minutes. That's about as long as we can enjoy it. And it's a shame because it's been a lot of work, and it's a significant win for the program, considering we hadn't won here, from my understanding. And it's the first time myself and our team, since I've been the coach, have beaten this team, and it's not easy to do.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, everybody.